book like the Quran, I'm sure it should be stated. The commentary will give you a sense of idea how the book came about, and what the book is about, the purpose. But in the Bible here, it gives you even the confidence to see that it is a living word of God. But if it is written there that it is believed by others to see as a living word of God, that is even better. But so you blame these things. I blame these things because of presentation and all that, and it is causing the delusion. People are breaking down because of that. People are confused because of that. People are fighting each other because of that. People are hating each other because of this. Even the word peace is there. You naturally hate because the negativities that are in there are overriding the positive things. And that is the power of negative. Negative things, negativity is very strong. It is overpowering the positive things. And that is more, you can see that is more like it. That is what is revealing in our everyday life than the positive side, unless you become stronger in your sense of approach, like going, looking things from the outside, not from the inside. If you look at things from the outside, then you are building the strength to overcome the religious sort of religious sort of approach idea that you have. You are overcoming that stagnant state that you are getting yourself into. You are overcoming that state of which drowns you or keeps you into a very insecure state. You are sort of getting yourself out of that terrible moment, which you're not bound to be a part of. But if you allow yourself, you'll be a part of that. The struggle and the power is in your hands, is in my hands, is in our hands. The same way as you have become mature, your mind has grown. It's up to you to know poison from the things that are not poisonous to you, for you to discover the things that are good and the things that are not good. Not for the next person to discover it for you. Even if that person discovers it for you, good. If you trust that person, you can take his word for it and follow it through, which happens. The generations and those civilization will feel as, yeah, we have trusted others with our lives, and that has brought us to the level we have got into. Other people even were forced and unwillingly put into a situation where they have to trust others to sort of develop their life. And that is what happened. And that's what has happened. If you're not lucky and you fall on the wrong rock, you will never have the roots to stand on, because the rock will not provide you the soil for you to have roots, for you to grow to become a tree. But if you fall on the right path, you can have a parable like that in the Bible as well, which I'm using now. If you fall on the soil path, ground which is soil, which is called good soil, then you are bound to grow and have roots. And your roots will make you stable to grow as a tree. That is if you are a tree. So, people can use anything to build their life and go the way they want to go. But it's up to us to sort of find things out and decide, are we worshiping a true God? Are we serving a true God? Are we in regard of, what God really should really be? And if you keep him from, keep you from thinking in a negative way, and the negativities will not keep creeping into your brains and clouding your brain so much. So let's look on from, we got to Israel and out in Genesis or Exodus, where we were reading Israel at Mount Sinai, and we went through and go to them. We got to the Ten Commandments. Sorry. Which gives us a sense of idea of what the rules were, what the Ten Commandments were, which both, if not the Islamic people also believe in Moses. So if the Ten Commandments story is true, then Islam has got that also, and they are bound to follow through, because Moses had rules and regulations from Jehovah. So I'm sure the Islamic people see that Moses was a Muslim, not a Christian. or wasn't a Judaist. Judaism was not part of Judaism, because they even see Judaism as not really the true culture, but the true culture was Islam. Because that time they used to talk about the story. All the stories talk about they bowing down all the time. So if you go to Islam, they choose the path of bow down a lot. And some of them you can see that their forehead, sometimes you have to use it a lot to do some mark on the forehead. You know. Where the Buddhists also believe in forehead, and sometimes they also put some sign here. You know, people have been made, and you see them sometimes they turn their head like that, do like that, like a snake waving their head, you know, that kind of thing. And even some of them have got snake worships and all that. So they behave like, you know, a snake behaving, that kind of thing. Whatever you give yourself to, you can become that. You know, I don't know why they talk or that Hinduism or those kind of people, when they talk, I don't know why they do that. Or the Indians, they normally wave their head like that without they saying no or something like that. You know, it happens a lot. Most of them, it's like something which naturally comes up. You see them do that. Maybe they don't notice themselves, but they do that. Sometimes you see a dot here or a turban, or a whole lot of turban on their head. It's a religion thing. They are into whatever they believe. See them, some of them, they play with snakes a lot. And even they believe that Jesus Christ traveled to that place. Some of them, in their belief, have got books that talks about Jesus Christ being there and taking powers from there because of, you know, and moved on when he was a child. Because the missing part of his story in the Bible of when he was as young as, was it 12 years or to whatever, 30 something years, all of these stories that he was 30 years and he was ministering. Then they don't know the rest of the story, where he went, you know, from his childhood to that age. They said he traveled to India and he was there. They've got stories about him, things that he was there, you know. And it could be, yeah, it could be true too. Muslims also have stories about him, you know. So everybody's coming up with something else, because they all, when they read these things, they can challenge it. They have some reason to know that the Bible has not got the whole thing. The Bible also is challenging the Torah. He also, in so many ways, thinking that they have got the true interpretation. And to me, all of these people are behaving as if God hasn't got mouth to talk himself. As if the same God they are pursuing, whether they don't know or normally don't get what they're doing. That's what it reflects to me. As a person who they are supposed to convert. This is what is happening to me now. Because I went out, lucky enough to go out to read or look at all of them. I look at what is happening, what they do, what people in that groups are doing. I ask myself, hey, tell me, can God speak for himself? If he's so interested and serious of getting things right with his creation, do you think he will leave such a serious business to the hands of a man, a fellow man, that you have come up struggling to make sure that the message reach out to people, do interpretations and saying that my interpretation is more, I'm more explaining God to you. I'm telling you directly what God said. Why can't God speak himself to tell me what he'd really want to say? Would he give it to you to say? No. But he can clearly speak to me. It's such a serious business. He will not let a man handle. Because a man obviously is mishandling the thing. We are obviously mishandling it. So why would he keep letting you mishandle it? And a man's life is just 100 or so years, and when that pass and gone, the chance of that life that God wanted to reach did not reach, and God has sat back, watch, whilst you, in your misinterpretations and all that, was, you know, deluding the person, and he passed on, and the message never reached out to him. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe whatever is happening to all these books and all doesn't matter. A man lives, he goes through all this, he dies, he ends up in God's hands anyway. So it doesn't matter. So God wouldn't care about intervening or anything. Or maybe God actually made it that way. He wants us to confuse. Just as the Bible reads, some places he brings confusion, some places he hardened people's hearts and made it suffer. Maybe Jehovah is doing that. It's not maybe. Jehovah is doing that according to the book. He did that to the Jews. He can do that to anybody. Unless that he cannot go into the territory of the Islamic people there, because they believe in Allah. They believe in Allah, and Allah is the one protecting them. So Jehovah can't go into unless Allah neglect the Islamic people, and leave them, and then Jehovah can come and torment them. Or